Hello and welcome to today's live broadcast and rebroadcast. For those of you who join us live, I know this is a new time. I actually had a little unexpected thing come up this afternoon at 3 o'clock, so I won't be able to go live at 3 o'clock, so I thought I'd go early as opposed to canceling altogether. If you can't join us live, I totally understand. We will post this on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel so you can catch this at your convenience. So welcome. My name is Diana. For the past 25 years, I've been helping women find nutrition plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best and live their most authentic life. We are doing that here in this community through the practice of intermittent fasting and creating our own keto-like lifestyle. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 hormones that are keeping or making women fat and sick. And I want to make sure that in today's discussion, I keep things very basic and very to the point. I want you all to understand how simple it is for us to reverse some of these things that are happening to us as we go through the aging process and as we start going through some hormonal changes, why it is we find ourselves out of balance, and how quickly we can get ourselves healed if we understand these 3 hormones. As women, we talk about hormonal imbalance all the time, but I don't think we ever really associate the name or the hormone specifically that we are truly out of balance in. So we think about hormones and we think about women and we think about very obvious hormones, and we don't think about the things that are really holding us in this almost like holding pattern of sickness, and with the frustration of the fat that our body's holding onto because of this imbalance. So the first hormone we are going to talk about is insulin. And insulin is that thing that we should really start thinking about as being the king or queen of all hormones. It is that hormone that does seem to be causing us the most problems, especially us women, and especially as we age. I know for me specifically, I started having sugar-related issues as a very young girl. I was hypoglycemic my entire life, and it was that point when I started to get older and my hormones started to change that hypoglycemia ended up turning into insulin resistance, which ended up turning into a pre-diabetic state, which also led me to have those precursor like side effects or signs and signals of Alzheimer's, which is a very scary situation to be in when you are in your late 40s. So insulin is a huge, or insulin resistance is a huge problem in our culture because of the way that we have been, quote unquote, taught to feed our bodies. We have been raised in a diet type of mentality and been told that if we do not eat every few hours and we're not eating throughout our day, that our body's metabolism will slow down, when in reality, living that type of lifestyle and eating every few hours throughout the day has really created this insulin problem in our body, which has thus led most of us to be in an insulin resistance type of situation. Insulin is a storage hormone, and it does store sugar or glucose in our fat cells. Insulin is also responsible for having glucose present in our liver and our muscles as well. But when we have this surplus of insulin in our body, because our body's not regulating normally, meaning we are hormonally out of balance, then our insulin is not being produced at its normal rate. And overproduction of insulin does cause our body to stop fat burning, or does actually put our metabolism in a slow burning mode. So all of the things that we've been trying to offset through dieting and eating every couple of hours has actually led us to the exact problem that we have been trying to avoid. And that is that we have so much glucose in our system and so much glycogen stored that we have the inability to burn it off, and thus we find ourselves in this situation. We have all this body fat on our body and we do not have the opportunity to actually burn it off. When insulin is present in our system, our body shuts off fat burning mode and we are no longer in the opportunity to burn off that unwanted fat. Insulin also is responsible or affects all other hormones, which is why I said we need to think about insulin as the king or queen of all other hormones. If we have an insulin problem, we have a problem with all other hormones. We know this to be true because a lot of women who have insulin resistance or insulin problems also have issues with PCOS. I know for myself specifically, having the sugar problems that I had growing up as a young woman and in my childbearing years, I also had some incidents of infertility as well. As soon as I fixed my insulin problem through nutritional or lifestyle changes, then my infertility problems went away. It didn't come back again until after I had my daughter at 40 and entered back into those insulin resistance and hypoglycemic type of situations. So we need to look at insulin for a lot of the things that we as women are suffering from. Insulin holds your fat in place. Like I said, when you have insulin present, that is the primary energy producing source that's available in our system. We also know that we can produce a fat burning mode, which will also produce an energy burning system in our body, but they don't fire off at the same time. So if you are in a situation where insulin is the primary hormone firing and you have the inability to tap into your fat stores, insulin, in a sense, just holds on to those fat stores and locks them into place. This is, again, why so many women going through hormonal changes are so frustrated with the body fat that they are not able to burn off their system. It is an insulin problem. We need to make sure that we fix that first. Insulin signs and signals, or insulin resistant signs and signals, are also very similar to menopausal signs and symptoms. So we think that we're having problems with the hormonal imbalance that we have with menopause, when in fact it could also be that we have an insulin problem as well. So insulin is that one king or queen hormone, however you want to label it, that is causing most women to go through life and end up at this place where we're in perimenopause or menopause. Yes, a true hormonal imbalance situation that is ruled by insulin most primarily. The second hormone that is keeping us women sick and fat is leptin. Now, leptin is that hormone that sends us that feeling of fullness. It's our satiated kind of feeling that we have, or that we want to have. So when we're eating, we want to feel satiated. If we have leptin resistance, we never get that signal sent to our brain letting us know that we are full, thus we tend to overeat. Leptin is responsible for telling us to stop eating. But when our leptin levels are out of balance, we never receive that signal. So if you're walking around feeling like you're hungry all the time, that is because your leptin is out of balance. Again, we are talking about a hormone. So insulin out of balance, leptin out of balance. We have a situation where we are hormonally imbalanced. So leptin is stored in our fat cells. So let's go back to insulin for just a second. If we have insulin resistance and we know that we have a situation in our body where we have the inability to burn fat and we're actually storing fat because of our insulin resistance, then we have this overabundance of fat. Overabundance of fat also will throw your leptin levels out of whack, because that is where our leptin is stored. So if you have a high level of fat in your body, then you have the propensity to store more leptin. Again, this will throw you out of balance. So we have a hormonal imbalance situation. The third hormone that I want to talk about today that is keeping us women sick and fat is ghrelin. Now, ghrelin is the hormone that you actually see, or you actually hear and feel. So ghrelin has a really cool nickname that reminds us of what its job is, and that is growling ghrelin. So when you get those kind of hunger pains, or you get that growling sensation in your stomach, indicating that you are hungry, so it's sending a signal to your brain that you need to find food. When that is something that is controlling what you have a response to do, then we know it's out of balance. The beautiful thing about ghrelin, it is actually a hormone that we can trick. So if you have a feeling of fullness in your stomach, because ghrelin is produced in your stomach, so if you can trick your stomach into feeling full, you can actually trick your ghrelin hormone and get it back into balanced state. One of the reasons why I love drinking sparkling water is because the gas bubbles in your sparkling water makes your stomach have this sensation of being full because there's gas in there, and that will actually trigger your ghrelin thinking that it's had something put into your stomach, and will stop sending that signal to your brain and will balance out that hormone. So if you're feeling frustrated about being hormonally imbalanced and you're frustrated with the body fat you have that you're incapable of burning off, or you feel like you're incapable of burning off, if you feel like you're never satiated when you're having a meal, feeling like you're constantly hungry, or you're having that feeling like you need to eat every couple of hours, which is exactly how we've been trained to live our life, or you're feeling like you just don't have the energy that you need to get through the day because your insulin levels are not balanced out and they're spiking up and down, sending you again the signal that you need to feed your body, you are definitely in a state of hormonal imbalance. Insulin, leptin, and ghrelin are the three hormones that we really need to concentrate on getting back into balance in order to reverse a lot of the sickness that we women are feeling with insulin resistance, with being hypoglycemic, with being pre-diabetic, and even the signs and signals of those precursors to dementia and Alzheimer's. If you are a woman who is walking around not remembering where she left her personal belongings, or maybe you're wandering around your house forgetting why you ended up in a certain room, or if you're at the point where I was at, where it was so serious that I couldn't remember where I parked my car when I went shopping, or I couldn't recall my own kids' names when I was having a conversation with them, then you're probably at a state of being hormonally imbalanced with simple things like insulin, leptin, and ghrelin. So, what are the best ways to get these hormones in balance and get yourself back in check and out of this sickness mode, and finally at the place where you can burn off some of this stored body fat? Fasting. More specifically, intermittent fasting. Every time we have a food situation in our day and we put something in our body that is going to require insulin to be released, we are creating this never-ending state of hormonal imbalance for us. What happens when we are in an intermittent fasting state is we actually suppress that insulin from being produced. So we are not giving insulin an opportunity to produce itself in our body. 12 hours into a fasted state is when our insulin is at its lowest levels. So for women, what we are finding is that the longer we can maintain this intermittent fasting state, intermittent fasting being within a 24-hour window, the faster we can reverse a lot of these signs and signals of hormonal imbalance with insulin, leptin, and can control our ghrelin. What we're finding here in this community is a 20-hour clean fasted state allows our body enough opportunity to burn off what it is that we have in backup in our cells and allow our bodies to go back to a state of what I like to say is hormonal balance. Keep in mind, none of the things that I've talked about today have anything to do with what we often think about when it comes to hormonal imbalance, and that is the sex hormones that we produce or that we start diminishing in producing as we go through this aging process. Our body is so intelligent and knows exactly what it needs to do as far as hormone production goes. If we're not needing certain hormones, our body has already been designed to burn those off. But keep in mind, if we know that these three hormones that I just talked about today being out of balance can also mimic some of the side effects that we have or we think we have as menopause, and you go in and try to balance out the wrong hormones through prescription medication or maybe some things that we're doing to try to replenish hormones that are naturally dying off, that's when we really start to find ourselves into in a situation where we can set our hormones completely out of balance and start to cause some further damage to what's going on with us internally as we go through perimenopause and menopause. So if you're frustrated and you're feeling sick and you feel like you don't know what else to do about this hormonal body weight that you're holding on to, or more importantly, the body fat, and yes, for us women, body fat is a very serious issue as we are going through these hormonal changes and as we are out of balance. I don't want you to think that it is something that is cosmetic or that you're trying to be too overly concerned with your outward appearance. It's a real situation and it is caused by this imbalance. So we have to take this seriously. When you get to the point where you are so insulin resistant to the point that you end up in that pre-diabetic state, which will end up becoming diabetes, which will end up becoming very, very serious sugar-related issues like Alzheimer's and dementia. PCOS is a big thing, and they're now actually linking insulin resistance to some breast cancer cases as well. We have to take this seriously. We have to concentrate on the right hormones, and we have to get them back in balance. Practicing intermittent fasting is the simplest, most cost-effective way for you to get yourself back into hormonal balance without the risk of causing other hormones to become out of balance as well. Start with fasting. What you want to do is make sure that when you're in a fasted state, if you're suffering from any of the things that I talked about today, that you fast as if your life depends on it. Understanding the simplicity of these hormones and knowing that you can actually get your hormones back in balance by just doing nothing for a majority of your day. Once your hormones get back in balance and you're not suffering any of these signs and signals anymore, that's when you can start going back to reevaluating what it is that you want to do in your fasting window and reevaluate what you want to do in your feasting window. I hope this helps you understand why it is that we as women end up where we end up, sick and frustrated with our bodies when we start going through hormonal changes, perimenopause and menopause. Remember, your body has already been out of balance, and all that's happening as you're going through perimenopause and menopause is that the imbalance is becoming so much more obvious because now other hormones are changing as well. Hormones are constantly counterbalancing one another, and when one is totally thrown out of balance, the others respond as well. And if we remember that insulin is the king or queen of our hormones that is going to set off every other hormone in your body, and you can control that one hormone, then you are now in control of how it is you want your body to look and feel, and you have no need to ever worry about this aging process. And if you are going to be that woman that's going to become sick as we age, remember, our goal as women is to age successfully, and we have the power and the opportunity and the knowledge to make that happen if we choose to implement what it's going to take to make sure that we stay well. Insulin is that thing that we want to control first and foremost. The rest will fall suit once you get control of that insulin. The best way to do that is to create a fasted state for yourself. I'm going to jump in here really quickly, answer any questions or comments you have. This is information that is super simple. Don't overcomplicate it with all the scientific data that is out there. It's simple. Just do nothing for a long enough period of time that your insulin can actually get back in control of how it is being produced in your body. That is the simplest way you can explain what is going on with us when we're suffering from insulin resistance or diabetes or any of these other sugar-related situations that are going on. We have to be very simple about this. If you overcomplicate it, you are going to feel like you're never going to get it right, and that's when people start throwing in the towel or feeling like it's too frustrating. It's simple. Just do nothing. Do nothing to your body or nothing around your body for enough period of time for it to balance out, and then everything will fall into place. And then with our growling ghrelin, remember, all you got to do is trick it with a little bit of carbonated water or keep your stomach full of water, and it will think that you're feeding it, and it will balance itself out on its own. It's all a timing thing. Remember, we do not want to put ourselves in a diet type of situation ever. All we need to do is understand the timing of our body and understand the simplicity of our hormones. And once we get out of the way, everything will fall into place the way it's supposed to. We have a course starting on November 2nd for those of you who feel like you need a little bit of extra support or a little bit more understanding about how it is your hormones are working in your body as an aging woman. We do that inside of our course with a group of like-minded women. There is nothing more comforting or reassuring than knowing that you are in a group of women from all over the world who are going through the same phase of life that you are and are suffering or frustrated with the same things. I know when I was sick and I was pre-diabetic and had my Alzheimer's signs and signals coming on, not remembering my own kid's name, it was the loneliest and scariest time of my life. And it wasn't until I really understood that there were so many other women going through the same thing that I was going through that I really did start to take comfort in knowing that I had the power to change what was going on with me, and I want you to have that comfort as well. So if you're the type of woman who does better in a group type of environment because you want the comfort of knowing you're not alone, or you need the accountability of other like-minded women, we have a course for you, and it is starting on the 2nd. Links are in the comment section if you want to join us for our November 2nd course. We will be graduated before the Thanksgiving holiday sets in for us here in the US, and we'll also be sharing with you some of the holiday feasting ideas that we share in our family here that are on the healthier keto-like lifestyle as well, and you can start incorporating those with your family as well if you're interested. Okay, so let me see who's here today. Christy, hello, girlfriend. Thanks for jumping on with us. Sorry we're a little early today. Thanks for talking about this. It can get so complicated. Yes, the thing that I never want to do for this community here, any woman who just wants the straight up, like, how simple can this be, is I want to provide that for you. We can get super scientific about this, but then it becomes so over our head and so mentally exhausting, and for some of us, we just don't have the time or attention for that, myself included, that I really like to take this information and just simplify it to the everyday woman so that you can leave this video today and go implement what it is you need to do to make yourself look and feel your best and create the opportunity where you're living your life authentically. I can tell you, we were just in San Diego for I was there for 5 days, right? We had the best time. We fasted every single day. I think the first day I was there, I fasted for, gosh, it was almost 24 hours away from home. I fast when I travel. We were able to eat, I have this thing about French fries. We ate French fries every night. We drank San Pellegrino water. Like, we lived authentically and never skipped a beat with the lifestyle that we're creating for ourselves here. And I don't feel sick. I don't feel like I had to make up for lost time. And that comes with the time and consistency of balancing out your hormones. You do not have to live a restricted life or carry around a food scale or a calorie counter or any of that. Once you actually give your body the opportunity to reset itself, your hormones will reset. Then all you need to do is make very conscious decisions about how it is you want to look and feel throughout your day and make choices based on that. So 4 years or almost 5 years into this lifestyle, I still fast every single day because it provides the opportunity for my brain to be its sharpest and for me to look and feel my best. And that's my hope for all of you here, is that you create a lifestyle that you can live forever so that you have that opportunity to live healthy and energetic and keeping our mind as well, because that's super important for us as we grow older. Suzanne, hello. Christy, hello. December 2018 grad. Jody's here. Venetia, I believe it is, and then Janet. January here from several of your courses. I know, girlfriend, I always love hearing from you. Jackie from New Hampshire, welcome, girlfriend. Janet, it sounds as if intermittent fasting as well as a keto lifestyle is a cure to some of the menopausal ills. No drugs. Yeah. So I have had 0 hormone replacement therapy at all, and my hormones are totally balanced out. What we also have to do is create the mindset that, you know, we are getting older. Do I expect my body to act as if it did in my 20s or 30s? Absolutely not. I'm totally comfortable with living in my 53-year-old body. I have everything that I need health-wise. I have everything I need mental-wise. I have everything I need emotionally. So you have to do a little bit of a mental reset as well. But I am 53 and I'm healthy and I've had 0 hormone replacement therapy because the signs and signals of perimenopause and menopause have gone away because my hormones are as balanced out as they need to be at 53 years old. So we have to remember that as well. And what often happens is when you start to feel some of these signs and signals, we immediately run to the doctor and they immediately hand you a prescription, and we don't think any otherwise because yes, anytime you medicate something, the signs and signals will diminish, but the root problem has not gone away. So fix the root problem first and then evaluate what you need to have in your lifestyle, which is totally fine once you're balanced out, and decide what kind of things you need to add in then. I also call this like supplementation, desperation, when we're so desperate for the quick fix that we'll do anything to cover up signs and signals and we never get to the root problem. If we ignore the root problem of these hormonal imbalances, we are guaranteed to become very sick and lose the quality of life that we've all worked so hard to attain as we're going through these years of being able to wind down life and retire and enjoy grandkids and really have this amazing lifestyle as we age. We do not want to have to give up lifestyles as we age. We want to be able to pick up lifestyle habits as we age. And the only way to do that is to stay well. Zulima, hi Diane, I fell off the wagon. It was awful. My body was screaming. So I started to IF again, 24, third day today, starting to feel well again. God bless you for everything that you do for us. You're the best coach ever. Well, thank you so much for saying that, and congratulations for making the decision to come back. It doesn't take long to understand how great IF is until you throw in the towel or you fall off the wagon or however it is you want to describe that. Because we live so much of our life being so duped by what is supposed to make us feel good that we settle for feeling just okay. I lived probably most of my life feeling just okay, and now I feel so amazing that the only choices that I make are to sustain how amazing I feel. But you have to have, as you went through, that reference point of feeling okay to feeling amazing to feeling like crap, because feeling amazing feels so amazing and we don't have that reference point. So I'm glad that you experienced that. Keep that as a lesson and then don't fall off the wagon anymore because you know that there's a better way for sure. Janet, since taking your courses and making IF part of my daily routine, my menopausal symptoms have gone away. I can actually wear a sweater and not feel the need to rip it off because of hot flashes. Exactly. It's amazing once we get our body regulated, how regulated it can actually be. So I'm glad that you're noticing that. Tammy, I've taken 2 classes with you, entering menopause and pushing 50, also deal with autoimmune, Hashimoto's. Do you recommend 20-hour fast if also possibly dealing with adrenal fatigue, can't get weight off and frustrated? Yes. So everything is connected, right? So the best way to help with autoimmune disorders is to boost your immune system. And so fasting is the best way to do that. You want to make sure that your fasting is clean for 20 hours, and I would be very aware of what you're putting in your feasting window as well to make sure you're not triggering anything else with your Hashimoto's or causing any other sort of adrenal type of situations that might keep you in that fatigue type of state. So time and consistency are going to be your best friends. Anyone who's suffering from autoimmune disorders or feeling so frustrated about their weight, I say you got to attack intermittent fasting with both feet in the game. You can't have one foot in, one foot out. I kind of fast. I fast some days I don't. No. You have to have both feet in the game. You got to go all in, and you got to give your body the opportunity to heal itself. The best way to do that is move out of the way. So time and consistency is going to be your best friend for sure, Tammy. And then just make sure that you're clean fasting during that 20 hours for sure. Donna, hello. Karen from Kentucky. Good to have you with us. She's a September 2019 grad, so she's one of our new grads. Good to have you with us. And then Connie, just found you today. What beverage is allowed in the fast? What I recommend, especially for women who are suffering some of these imbalances with insulin, leptin, and ghrelin, is water only until you get yourself balanced out. And then when you know what it feels like to have like a hormonal imbalance reaction, then you can make more conscious decisions about what you're going to allow and what you're not going to allow in your lifestyle. In the beginning, to train these hormones and get them back in balance, I always recommend black coffee for some. Not everyone can even handle that. And you have to get 100 to 150 ounces of mineralized water, so water with potassium, magnesium, sodium, and calcium in it to keep your energy level up and keep your electrolytes balanced out. 100 to 150 ounces a day is what I recommend, and that will also help your hunger hormones balance out and help you feel a little bit more energized in your fasted state as well. Holly, in your mindset class now. So far, so good. Holly, I'm glad you're with us. I love the mindset course. We're doing some great work. Margaret from Washington, Donna, great to catch you live. Thanks for jumping on with us. You guys, I know it's a little early. Carmen from West Virginia, thank you for everything that you do for us aging women. I appreciate you joining us, so thank you. Carmen, let's see, Surreal. Love catching your live sessions. Thanks for all you do. Your teachings have changed my life. July and August 2019 grad. Well, girlfriend, you did the work, so thank you for tuning in, being part of our community. I'm super proud of you. Let's see who else. Janine, September 2019 grad and in midlife mindset shift class now. Things are going well. My body is healing. Yes, moving out of your own way is the best way to heal your body for sure. So I'm super proud of you as well. Nancy, in the October class, I'm learning a lot. 19-hour fast today, 20-hour fast yesterday, shifting my feasting window today. Good for you, girlfriend, and you're listening to your body, so that's the most important thing. Christy, September 2019 grad. Love catching you live. Thank you for all that you share. Looking forward to taking the next course for grads. Will it be in January? Yes, ma'am. Our midlife mindset shift course will launch again in January for all of our graduates. I would love to have you. Sylvia, worried about high total cholesterol and LDL after 4 months of keto, 51 years old, lost 10 kilograms, BMI 22. So if you're worried about your cholesterol being high, then reevaluate what you're doing in your feasting window for sure. Holly, blood tests to do A1C and serum leptin levels. What else? I would get your fasting blood glucose as well, and A1C for sure. And then Patrice, caught you live from New York City. Welcome, girlfriend. Dinah, September 2019 grad, simple and to the point. Fasting works. I'm so much healthier and happy. Yeah, don't overcomplicate something that should be so simple. We've all done the super complicated diet things, and look at where we all ended up. We spent so much time, counting calories and missing out on life events because of food situations and feeling stressed out about whether you're eating enough and not enough, and am I slowing down my metabolism and am I not? And this is the simplest thing to do. Just get out of your body's way, give it an opportunity to do what it was designed to do, and then sit back and watch the magic happen. We have a very powerful statement in our community here, and that is hungry is where the magic happens. And when you understand how powerful it is to be in a hormonally balanced, hungry state, you are home free. You will never have to worry about hormonal imbalance or any sort of diet type of mentality again, because you finally have let things fall into place with your body and let it do what it does best, and that is burn off fat and balance its own hormones out when it's in a powered state of hungry. And we teach that in the very first week of our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course. Jessica, hello from Ohio, August grad. Fast like your life depends on it is my favorite new mantra and a reminder that I need sometimes. Yes, for sure. Like when I got the news from my doctor that I was pre-diabetic, on the verge of becoming a full-blown diabetic, I didn't even hesitate. I completely changed my mindset about nutrition. I completely changed my mindset about hunger. I completely changed my mindset about how I was going to live my life, because I did not want to die a sick woman, and I did not want to not be able to mentally participate in my life, the life that I've worked so hard to create. I didn't want to miss it because my brain stopped working. And that was serious, serious business for me. So I fast as if my life depends on it, because it does. And I think every woman should start thinking about that when it comes to food and how we're fueling our body and what makes sense for us. Christine, I would think that to prevent recurring breast cancer would do best on 18 to 20 hour fast. Do you agree? I've been doing 16-hour fast daily for about 9 months. No major changes yet. Yeah, remember, cancer thrives in a sugar environment and it starves in a fat environment. So any kind of fasting that you can do has been scientifically proven to really help offset cancer and help cancer reduction. There's fascinating books on cancer and fasting. A really great one that I always recommend is The Metabolic Approach to Cancer. And so what we want to do is starve off cancer. And the best way to do that is with fasting protocols. If you're currently in a cancer type of situation, it's highly recommended that you seek professional supervision with some fasting protocols, and even longer fasts outside of the intermittent fasting window have been proven to be very, very resourceful for starving off cancer, battling cancer, and recovering from cancer as well. So do some research on that for sure, but there's lots of books and research on that one. Helen from Pennsylvania, August 2019 grad, your videos are like an AA meeting. They keep me on track and I can attend whenever I need to. Yes, girlfriend, please use them whenever you need them for sure. They're the same thing for me. We have to keep our health in the forefront of our mind because we're so easily distracted these days. We're so busy that we can become very unconscious in our everyday decisions and our everyday activities and how it is we are taking care of ourselves. So we have to keep our health on the forefront of our mind. And as women, we need to be selfish about that and unapologetic about that. So putting yourself first is never a problem because it makes us show up for our lives better for everyone else when we take care of ourselves first. So make sure that you stay in that mindset as well. Let's see, Holly, you are so right on. That made me laugh. Ellen said something. Okay, Sholomit, I think it is. Hello, girlfriend. I think I pronounced your name. I think I pronounce your name wrong every time. Julie, thank you for all you do. Margaret, they have helped me, but I think I could be better. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Adrian, good afternoon. Dear Diane, just jumped in, didn't hear the beginning. I have a question about the time of the feasting. Does it matter if you shorten the fasting time? I would love to hear you talk about that. Yeah, if you shorten the fasting time, you don't give your body enough opportunity in a non-insulin type of state. So longer fast is just more time from that 12-hour point. So 12 hours is when your insulin is at its lowest. So that hormone is at its lowest level. Every hour past the 12-hour mark, you're putting yourself into a more fat prominent type of situation or a fat burning type of situation, knowing that insulin being present stops fat burning. So the longer we go without insulin being present, the more opportunity we have to burn fat as your primary source of energy. So longer fasting is always the more advantageous place to be. Gladys from Chicago, thank you for all of this information. It just makes sense. I appreciate you. I'm trying to heal from multiple sclerosis. Yes, fasting is now showing to be that thing that we can utilize, or that way of living that we can utilize to actually repair damaged cells and recirculate new DNA. And so research that as well. Fasted states are a healing state. It's how we should start thinking about that. Fasted state is a healing state. It's not a starvation state. It's not a calorie deficit state. It's a healing state. And if we keep that thought process going on, then you're going to be more encouraged to stay in that fasted state for sure. Okay, Shelly, September grad, current midlife in F3, doing great, just waiting for hormones to balance. Tired of low energy, dizziness, drugged feeling, equilibrium off, slowing me down. Yeah, Shelly, are you blood testing at all? That is a huge truth serum when you start actually testing your blood levels and seeing how insulin resistant you might be, or how much glucose you have kind of floating through your blood at any given time of the day. And also it's great to understand how food's affecting your body, because we are all so different. We cannot go by one diet philosophy. We cannot go by any one type of food regimen or genre of food, because food does affect us also differently. Remember, it's a chemical reaction in our body, and we all are so individualized in that type of situation. So if you're feeling frustrated and you haven't yet started blood testing, I always recommend putting off blood testing until you actually feel like your hunger hormones are balanced out, your insulin, your ghrelin, and your leptin, because otherwise then you're just kind of throwing darts and you don't know where they're going to hit. give yourself an opportunity to feel at least balanced out enough where testing is not going to stress you out, and it's actually going to be a tool that you can utilize to go to the next step. But I would suggest that for sure. Let's see, where did I stop off? Debbie, thank you. I'm quite a bit younger, but have been in a state of hormonal imbalance for as long as I can remember. Today is my first day fasting 20 hours. Yeah, and remember, sugar is not age discriminating at all. Very young women, especially these days, are suffering from insulin resistance. I share all the time how I have been hypoglycemic my entire life. I can't remember a time where I could actually go more than 2 hours without eating. We have jokes in our family about how I take snack bags everywhere. I would come home from elementary school in tears, just emotionally breaking down because I needed food. And it was because I was an infant that was fed watered down simple sugars because I was lactose intolerant and nobody knew it. And sugar was the only thing that quieted me down. So I was force fed sugar as a baby. No wonder I have sugar problems as an adult woman. So we have to do a little bit of research in our past too and understand how sugar was introduced to us in our life. Kind of maybe if you have your mom still around, talk to her about what her pregnancy was like. All of that matters and is a good way to put the pieces of your puzzle together to try to figure out your food story. Your food story can be one of the most freeing things that you can do, or exercises that you can do for yourself to make you understand why it is that we're here. It's not our fault. Oftentimes it's just circumstances adding up together that create a life, and that life has pieces of it that are the reason we are where we are today or how we are today. And when you know that information, it's so empowering because now it gives you the opportunity to make informed choices for yourself. So do a little food history work, food story work as well. Claudia, I'm still intermittent fasting, but the food really fell off this last week. Started binging on popsicles, crackers, and bread. Result was immediate weight gain. Okay, so popsicles, crackers, and bread have really no nutritional sustenance value for you at all. So you have to go to the mindset and the emotional reason why you went to popsicles, crackers, and bread when you know that those are not nutrient dense foods. So oftentimes when we feel like we're binging or we're self-sabotaging, it's an emotional decision and not an informed decision about our health and well-being. So go back to figuring out what caused you to make those emotional decisions for yourself, and then make sure you have boundaries in place so you don't repeat that for sure. And then Teresa watching from Tennessee, tell your dad we said hello. Stacy, I have started taking HRT. I am menopausal and wondering if I can start this while taking HRT. Intermittent fasting shouldn't be a problem for you. What it'll probably help you understand is you probably don't need to take HRT because whatever signs and signals cause you to go that route will probably go away. Ika, I think it is. New to your site, I'm an African woman going through perimenopause. I feel crazy most days. I am not new to clean eating. Just need your support. So clean, healthy eating is not the solution to a lot of these hormonal imbalance problems. When I became pre-diabetic, I was a health and fitness coach, and I was the cleanest eater you could find. It was the timing in which I was eating that was keeping myself in this insulin resistant situation that ended up putting me in a diabetic state. So it's the frequency of when we eat has to be the thing that we conquer first. While we're creating that intermittent fasting lifestyle for ourselves and balancing things out, we can start working on what it is that we're doing in our feasting window. So clean eating has nothing to do with your sugar problems. It's the fact that you haven't created a situation where you can balance out your hormones, and that is best done in a fasted state. So it's a timing thing and not a diet thing. Pia, just to clarify, the HOMA test is the most accurate gauge of insulin resistance and the best test to gauge one's likelihood of developing diabetes that your doctor is not doing. Yeah, so ask for that for sure. Even a simple fasting blood glucose test and an A1C test is going to be enough of an indicator that you could be heading down that road for sure. Doctors these days, with the way insurances are, or maybe you have limited insurance, are going to determine whether you can get certain tests or not. But a fasting blood glucose and an A1C, usually they do the fasting blood glucose first. If they see a problem there, then they run the A1C, and then you can get further testing from there as well. And then sorry, I meant shorten the feasting, meaning 24 to. Okay, so shortening the feasting window. Yeah, shortening the feasting window is always great because then you have a longer fasting period. But if in the beginning, to balance out your hormones, and the easiest way to adapt this lifestyle of intermittent fasting and keto-like lifestyle into a lifestyle with other people is intermittent fasting, because you're doing it within a 24-hour period and you can still have a great feasting time that fits into social obligations and family obligations very well. And then Madhur, I tried to do 8 hours, I think, of feasting, 16 hours of fasting a day. Should I have to be quite consistent to see weight loss and overall good health? Yes, and for what we are learning here in this community of women is that 16 hours in a fasted state is not a long enough time of insulin being absent in your system to actually create a weight loss or hormonal balance. You have to go longer than that for sure. And then Margaret, I need to lose weight, but this for me has become more about feeling better and sleeping again. It's been over 10 years that I've actually slept more than 4 or 5 hours a night. Yeah, for sure. Hormonal balance also affects, or imbalance also affects, our sleep as well. So once you get yourself hormonally balanced out, your sleep improves as well. We think insomnia, night sweats, leg cramps, mood swings, weight gain are all sex hormone imbalance related because of the age that we are at when this really hits us. And it is really insulin, leptin, and ghrelin that we need to get balanced out in order for everything else to find its nice homey place in our body as well. So make sure that you're concentrating on the right hormones for sure. Shelly, yes, blood is good. Average 90 a.m., 2 hours after breaking fast. 20 to 22 hours average fasting 101. Yeah, so it sounds like your blood glucose is fine for sure. Rachel, hello. Christine, curious what your own feast window time is daily. Mine, I fluctuate between a 4-hour feasting window and a 2-hour feasting window, sometimes a 1-hour feasting window. I build my lifestyle within my 20-hour fasting and 4-hour feasting around what's going on with my family. Now that I am a very healed woman, I have no weight issues, I have no insulin issues, I have no memory issues, I have no hormonal issues whatsoever. I really do play with mine a little bit more. I always err on the side of fasting over erring on the side of feasting for sure. Let's see, Laura, is matcha tea okay during a fast? Love your content. No, I would say if you're trying to fast to balance out your hormones, you need it as clean as possible. So I would only put that in my feast. Ilka, I think it is. What is the cost of your program? There's a link in there. You can go ahead and check out everything on the page for my class registration. Hillary, how long did it take you to correct your pre-diabetic state? I went in an entire year, both feet in, no questions asked, 20 hours clean fasting, 4 hours of a keto-like lifestyle during my feasting window. I did that for an entire year, reversed everything that was ailing me, and have since stuck to that type of lifestyle where I vary my fasting and my feasting as well. So I took an entire year where I just gave my body time to heal. Can you do that faster? Maybe you can. A lot of women in our community are feeling some really positive effects within the course time frame, which is 3 weeks, just by kind of paying attention to the body and how it's feeling and really jumping into that 20-hour fasting time. I say the mindset that you go into this lifestyle with is very indicative of how quickly your body will respond and react to the healing process for sure. But I stayed in it for a year and I absolutely loved it, and I've continued to do it ever since. So it's all about how dedicated you are and how serious you are. I always like to ask the question, and I ask this of myself as well, like, how badly do I not want to die feeling the way I was feeling when I was sick? And I really did not want to ever die that way. I don't want to die being sick. And I don't want to die before my time. And I want to make sure I keep my wits about me as I'm going through this aging process. So it's all a mindset thing. And then you just make choices around that for sure. Let's see. And then we got to get out of here soon, right, Michael? Margaret, I eat a lot of dates for a sugar substitute. However, I eat about 4 a day. Not sure that helps me like I think. I actually crave them first thing in the morning. If you're craving them first thing in the morning, they're not helping you at all. Dates are very high in sugar, even though they're considered a fruit. So I would ditch those for a week or so and see how you feel in the morning. If you wake up craving sugar and you wake up feeling hungry, you are eating too many carbohydrates within your feasting window for sure. And then Medur, I am new here. Can you please tell me what the ratio of eating fasting window is? I fast for 20, feast for 4. And then it looks like Gwen, what was your A1C when you found out you were pre-diabetic? Since starting 18-hour fasting, my A1C has dropped from 6 to 5.7. When I was pre-diabetic, I was a 5.9. Rosalind, hello. Margaret, had a little scare the other day. I needed a glass for a drink and got out a bowl. I know it sounds like no big deal, but it really bothers me. Okay, so yeah, that's that memory thing and that Alzheimer's sort of, you know, pre-onset type of thing. So Alzheimer's and dementia are now in the category of diabetes 3. So we have a diabetic 1, diabetic 2, diabetic 3. 3 is the brain diabetes, or how our brain is affected by sugar. It is a very serious epidemic in our country. It affects so many women. I have a 19-year-old and a 13-year-old. I'm 53 years old. They are nowhere near having babies, and I am nowhere near being a grandmother. I can't imagine what my brain would be like 10 or 15 years from now had I not fixed my insulin problem. So I want to be around in all capacities for the grandkids I don't have yet. I take this lifestyle very, very seriously, and I think all of us women should too. We should not lose our car in the Target parking lot. We should not constantly not know where we left our keys. We should not stand in the middle of a room of our home and wonder why we are there. We should not forget the very simple tasks and things that we have in our life that are important to us. If you find yourself in that situation, it's probably a sugar-related issue, and it is eating away at your brain, and you should really consider what it is you're doing in the practice of your everyday life with food and see if you can reverse some of those signs and signals. We know now that fasting has the opportunity to help reverse some of those things in our brain and the brain damage that we have accumulated over the years. So why would you not attack this as if your life depends on it? Because if you have no brain and you have no mind, you have no life. And that we should really consider that over everything else. Over everything else that's aesthetically bothering us, we should really think about how it is that we can keep our brain sharp as we're going through this aging process. We gotta go. Okay, let me get a couple more questions and we gotta get out of here. Karen, we already did that one. Connie, I think I got you as well. Okay, we got a lot of questions on Facebook and a lot of questions over here on YouTube. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer each one of them personally. I've got to go help my girlfriend who is in a situation where she can't pick her kids up from school today. So I got to go get some little kids from school. I will come back through here, answer some questions or comments. And if we need to do a video on this topic again this week or next week, I will definitely hit it again to get everyone's questions answered. Leave your comments. I will come back around later today and get everyone answered for sure. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks for appreciating the fact that we had to come on a little bit earlier. If you want more personalized help with creating this lifestyle for yourself, we have a course starting on November 2nd. Make sure you hit the links in the comment section. Get yourself registered. I would be an honor to spend some time with you in our November course, helping you balance out your hormones and creating a healthy lifestyle for yourself. Have a good rest of your afternoon, you guys.